would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Ask him how much his mama weigh.
All new Family Feud.
Welcome to Family Feud, everybody!
It was all going so well until...
I've been wanting to get to you for a long time. Shucky ducky quack quack. Smells so good. I'm taking it all in.
What y'all laughing at?
All new Family Feud.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm getting scared.
Brought to you by We Are the Caring Store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
You can open a Sagicor Bank savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 o'clock.
Every dream conquered is another dream game. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction. 'Cause I'm wiser, one step closer. I'm winning 'cause I work so hard. And the music keeps on playing, and the people them I say we are my show tonight. Oh, what a feeling! Don't stop dreaming. Keep on believing in the power of the feeling. Whatever you want, take a chance. Song in your heart, step in your dance. You got a spark, don't fit it down. Shine your lights
Coming up in CVM News at 7, veteran journalist Barbara Gayle laid to rest. PM clarifies delays impacting social housing, notes resolution. Labour Minister counters Amnesty International's farm work report. In Inspire Jamaica, a mother's soulful praise for her son paralyzed by a bullet. While in sports, Olympian Jaheel Hyde announces retirement from athletics.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this Sunday, February 2, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Curlin Brown. A story close to home. The profession for let's do that again. Former co-workers at the Jamaica Gleaner, where veteran journalist Barbara Gayle inked her craft for decades, remembered her as a true professional who listened with love. There were glowing tributes for the mother, friend and grandmother who was murdered in her Caymanas Country Club estate house in St. Catherine in December 2024. We will have more on that for you in a moment. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has responded to a recent report highlighting delays in the National Social Housing Programme, causing beneficiaries added burdens. Now, while handing over 3 social houses in southern St. James, he shut down any suggestion of inefficiency or corruption in the process of procurement and construction.
In what was to be a celebration of another handing over of a social house in Roehampton, St. James, Prime Minister Andrew Holness carved out time to clarify alleged discrepancies around delays in the construction of social housing.
I take note of certain reports that there have been delays in the construction of housing, and that some persons who are to be beneficiaries have been dislocated or displaced or have suffered some form of loss as a result of not having the benefits delivered in a timely fashion. The government of Jamaica, and indeed myself, we are very sympathetic and understand the issues that would arise for persons who are waiting on their houses to be built, but there are delays.
The Prime Minister says they're moving as quickly as possible to fix that. Holness explains any good program would be scrutinized, but says there have been efforts to unfairly portray the National Social Housing Program in a bad light. He offered clarification around the delays.
The government of Jamaica does not itself build houses. The government of Jamaica would not itself set out not to finish the houses as quickly as possible. That would not be in our interest. The government of Jamaica has its set rules about contracting, and we hire contractors on a competitive basis. They put in bids and tenders, and we assess who are the persons capable, based upon the tenders, to construct the house at the best possible price. There is no guarantee that having entered into a contract for the construction of a house, that the contractors will deliver on time.
Additionally, he revealed obstacles to include security concerns and theft of materials, while reminding that generally these constructions are delivered on a timely basis.
And contractors have reported that they would have put materials on site, and by the time they turn around, the materials disappear. They would have paid additional costs for security, and sometimes the security feels insecure themselves. And so contractors have delayed projects or have just abandoned projects because of the issue of security. Another element which we have come upon in the construction of houses would be labor issues, labor disputes, payment disputes.
And that's not all. He notes that contractors sometimes abandon a project or encounter challenges, forcing them to go back to market, adding further delays that inevitably affect beneficiaries. In the case of the houses referenced in a recent report, he notes those contractors were changed and the building moving apace.
It is not a straightforward matter of the government entering into a contract and always the contract is performed as we expect, that there will be delays. And the truth is that there may be those who would be saying, well, once you have found out that the contractor is not performing, you should dismiss the contractor immediately. But I'm sure you will understand that built into the procurement on the contracting process, that there are rules as to the timelines as to when contracts can be terminated, and that you have to give the contractor and the other third parties proper time and notice, and if they ask for extension, that has to be considered. So there are many variables that are beyond the control of the government.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Now, with thousands of Jamaicans expecting to self-deport or face deportation from the U.S., Prime Minister Holness assures the local security forces are prepared for any development. Experts have said some of those to be deported have long contributed to the transnational crime and gun trade between Jamaican gangs and North America. The Prime Minister confirmed with the head of the St. James Police, Superintendent Aaron Samuels, plans are apace on some of the intelligence gathering and crime fighting efforts regarding deportation.
We have a lot of operational activities that is being done targeting these gangs, and we are looking to ensure that we keep our fingers on the pulse to ensure that we know strange persons who are coming back. We know a lot of these persons who are coming may be coming back without a history in St. James, a criminal history. They may have been doing wrongs overseas, and we are trying to get as much evidence as we can around those. What we have also done is increase our footprint on the ground. So within the communities, within the streets, we have far more police officers working. We are ensuring that we do a lot of stop and search work, national coordinated roadblocks that takes place right across the country. But indeed, in St. James, it's a staple that whether or not it is mandated, we ensure that it is done because we realize that keeping the criminals out of the loop in terms of their ability to move makes it easier for us to fully police the space.
Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake was reportedly involved in a motor vehicle incident at around 11:25 a.m. today on the Bull Point Main Road in the vicinity of Dolphin Cove in St. Ann. From information received, a Toyota Prado in which the Commissioner was traveling along the Duns River Main Road collided with a Toyota Fielder, which was heading towards St. Anne's Bay. It's reported the car overtook a line of traffic and collided into the right side of the service vehicle. The crash resulted in damage to the right front wheel of the service vehicle, while the right front section of the Toyota Fielder was damaged. The driver of the Toyota Fielder received injuries to his chest area and was taken to hospital by the police. There were no reported injuries by personnel in the service vehicle. Now, a Subaru motor car also reported minor damage during the crash. A report on Canada's farm work program by an international human rights group has left the Labour Minister concerned. The information raises questions about the nature of the program and how employees are treated. But as Trisha Gayle tells us, the minister is not pleased with the publication.
An alleged damning report on Canada's farm work program has reached the ears and eyes of Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. The report, published by human rights group Amnesty International, claims that farm workers are being abused. But Minister Charles Jr. suggests the basis of the report is unbecoming.
You have almost 150,000 persons that are on these programs. And what I've found very concerning to me is that Amnesty International has focused on 44 individuals, not 400, not 4,000, 44 individuals who have been interviewed, and their opinion has formed the primary basis of the report that we are reading.
He says the group published statements that may jeopardize the integrity of the program. Statements including, "Many migrant workers have told us they came to Canada hoping to secure a better future, yet instead they felt they were treated like slaves. They deserve better." The minister suggests the report could have grave impact in a country where farm work is highly promoted.
Of that 44, 6 of those individuals are Jamaicans. Note, we have 9,000 Jamaicans who are in Canada, and 6 of them have been interviewed to form the sample that is used as the primary basis for the output of this Amnesty International report. I don't even know if the 6 persons are active, inactive, when last they've been on the program. They could be speaking about issues from 2022, from 2006. We don't know.
He, however, maintains that though all is not perfect now, the program has and continues to improve.
Jamaica has taken several steps to ensure that the program is enhanced and stronger. We have increased the number of liaison offices. We have increased the number of liaison officers. We have increased the number of visits that we have to farms. And all of this has led to positive output, an uptick in the request for Jamaican workers, and a decline in the complaints from Jamaican workers and from the employers.
The Labour Minister contends that the ministry is open to constructive criticism, but it will not tolerate reports of this nature.
We can also say that we welcome any information, report, commentary, recommendations, criticisms that will help us to enhance our service, to protect the rights of the workers, to build stronger relations. But we should not readily accept and introduce into the narrative around our farm work program any unjustified, unbalanced assessment.
Trisha Gayle, CVM News.
Minister Charles Jr. adds the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is working assiduously to continue upgrading the local aspect of the farm work program.
We have introduced into our procedures the No One Left Behind policy, where when the workers are identified and they're going through interviews, they are given an opportunity, if they fail, to be diverted to literacy programs. We also divert them as necessary into programs that afford them grants and support. And we also have the inclusivity policy, where persons with disabilities have been incorporated into the overseas employment program. From Jamaica's perspective, we can say definitively that we have taken steps to really improve our program.
And CVM News at 7 will continue right after this.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Pure Jamaican ginger, make your tea. Flavor up your drinks. And spice up your cooking. Everything tastes better with a toops of pure ginger.
CVM TV and live Jamaica Premier League action on a Monday night. A match made in heaven. We call it Monday Match Night. Catch all the hard-pounding JPL Monday night action from now until the end of the season on CVM TV's Monday Match Night. Matchday Mondays at 7:45 to 5 p.m. with rebroadcast Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Nothing else can quite match up. Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Welcome back. Local surveys show men are less likely to seek health care than women, and in many instances, the macho culture is a factor. The Minister of Health and Wellness is, however, encouraging males to get tested. As surveys also show, on the topic of health, women are more likely to live longer than men. Trisha Gay Kelly picks up that story.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness has always promoted screening for both men and women. However, the ministry is doubling its encouragement for men to commit to the task for their own health's sake. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says males have always shied away from screening, especially for critical illnesses.
It's almost a subculture, a negative subculture in our society. It's more about fear. It's more about just not feeling that they need to in some instances. And generally speaking, as a society, we tend to go to the doctor only when we're sick. It's something we have to overcome through encouragement, through motivation.
And speaking of motivation, the minister says women have the most influence on men and should encourage their partners to get screened.
And the women should encourage and maybe restrict. And it could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Or it could be snacks, I don't know. And people laugh about it. But the truth is, it's an important fact. Our men live 3 to 4 years less than our women in our society, on average. And if you want your man around, for the life cycle, to see your children grow, to enjoy life without being in a wheelchair or otherwise. Encourage them to take the same action that you're taking as a woman.
Dr. Tufton says since some men refuse to visit the doctor to be screened, the ministry has brought the screening to them.
The mobile screening, I think, is important, which is why I agree that we need to do more of that. The Know Your Numbers program that goes into the town centers, do the critical tests, determine how those tests may be affecting, may be abnormal, and then recommending further follow-up and more intense testing is very critical, and we've seen that in the Know Your Numbers program.
The ministry is urging Jamaicans to get screened before it's too late. Trisha Gayle Kelly, CVM News.
As mentioned at the top, persons close to the profession, former co-worker at the Jamaica Gleaner, where veteran journalist Barbara Gayle inked her craft for decades, remembered her as a true professional who listened with love. We can now go to Nika Lewis for that report.
The Kencott Adventist Church in Kingston was filled with loved ones, happy memories, and tear-jerking tributes for a veteran in her field, journalist Barbara Gayle. Gayle, who was only last year acknowledged for her decades of quality court reports and journalistic efforts, was less than a month later killed in her St. Catherine home. She left suddenly, but not without an indelible mark on those who knew her.
She knew the human condition, and with her unobtrusive style and kind spirit, she became a positive mentor, not only to colleague journalists, but also young attorneys at the public and the private bar, law enforcement personnel, and the court staff. We all benefited from her constructive criticism, encouragement, and commendation.
In one of her first public appearances since receiving a favorable ruling from the courts on her post, the DPP says she met Miss Gayle some 35 years ago and would later benefit from her wit and wisdom for decades. But her love was not only for the legal fraternity.
Just the stories you heard about her long before. I knew Barbara maybe a decade before I actually met her because of Clinton McGregor. I don't want to say hero worship, but she was someone who was pretty dear to Clinton, and because of that, every single day at that time when I was at RJR, in the RJR newsroom, every single day that passes, it doesn't end without Clinton saying a word about Barbara in whichever way, shape, or form, how she helped to shape his career.
An outpouring of sadness at her passing and the loss of a stalwart. But the absence of a loved one, a relative, also came to the fore.
Everybody here knows my mother. She always have a upbeat spirit. Always have good energy. Always, mustering, running a lot of jokes and stuff. I've never really seen my mother angry. And when I just came to Jamaica and went to the community where she's from, I realized that everybody's spirit was down. Some people tell me, Neil, I don't go running in the mornings no more, and my spirit is so down and everything. And I said to them, listen, if you remember who my mother was, Miss Barbara Gayle, she would be the first person to tell you, you're gonna get up and keep going and run in the mornings and do everything that you usually do.
Nika Lewis, CVM News.
Let's look now at regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. In Guyana, opposition leader Aubrey Norton wrapped up the opposition's contributions to the 2025 national budget debate on Thursday, highlighting various plans he believes state funds will be better spent on. Here's Newsroom Guyana.
We have developed a clear path for a successful Gaisuku by diversifying the agricultural product, appointing competent managers. I want to repeat this. Appointing competent managers, not appointing them and when they're proven competent, you make them ambassador. Upgrading the skills of the existing workforce and creating alternative employment for people in the sugar belt as we right-size Gaisuku.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, attorney Pamela Elder SC, who represents Commissioner of Police Erla Harewood Christopher, speaks to the media after her client was released from police custody outside the St. Clair police station on February 1 at around 5:50 p.m. Harewood Christopher had been in custody since around 11 a.m. on January 30 after she was arrested in connection with an investigation surrounding the procurement of 2 sniper rifles for the Strategic Services Agency SSA. Here's TT Newsday.
I am very glad and happy that it shows that there is a true separation of powers existing in Trinidad and Tobago. And as I said, I want to know who orchestrated this. Was it designed to humiliate the commissioner? Is there a hidden agenda somewhere there? These are questions which will be answered. But as her attorney, I would advise her that this matter not rest here. So we have to sit and consider everything. As I said, she has endured the 2 days of questioning, and I think it's time she goes home.
In international news, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has arrived in Panama amid heightened tensions over the future of the Panama Canal. President Donald Trump has been threatening to take control of the canal, and that's the world's second most important waterway. More from Al Jazeera.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has made Panama his first destination on his first overseas trip. Washington's central issue is China and the fear that it could control the U.S.-built Panama Canal. Secretary Rubio says it's no joke.
Just retired General Richardson said she flew over the canal, looked down and saw those Chinese port facilities and said, those look like dual-use facilities that in a moment of conflict could be weaponized against us.
Chinese workers first came to Panama in the mid-1800s, but their numbers and influence have expanded greatly in the last 3 decades, especially since Panama cut ties with Taiwan and recognized China 8 years ago.
Now, giving up, unfortunately, becomes an option sometimes for even youngsters. And while it may be difficult to fathom, along with open discussions, soulful praise is all some persons have, even when they are overwhelmed. It's time for Inspired Jamaica.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can.
Prayer. It's a personal and subjective experience. It's not a substitute for medicine, responsibility, or advice. In fact, because the views experienced may not reflect those of others, this expression of faith is a spiritual choice. For a mother to hear her son sometimes say he gets to a place where he no longer wants to be here cuts to the core, easily putting pressure on conversations.
My name is Gayle Blair. I'm the parent of Nishan Blair. Nishan Blair, who is a 16-year-old boy who picked up a stray bullet on his 16th birthday in March 30th, 2021. Now he's 19. He'll be turning 20 next month. This is 4 years since now. He is paralyzed, and I want to say a big thanks to Father God who carries us this far. We have been through so much, but by God's grace, we know we will make it.
With most teenagers looking forward to something tangible to celebrate, for Nishan, the February 1st death of a 22-year-old soldier who was admitted at the hospital since October 2024 after hitting his head during a dive was like a wake-up call. After seeing the grieving family, he wants to hold out on living, praying against the trauma for his family.
We have been overseas for 1.5 years, You know, it was a very good and bad, but give God thanks. We have made it this far. It was a rough journey for my son and I, but we made it. Nisha was back and forth out of the hospital. It was a rough journey, but give God thanks we made it. Now we're back in Jamaica, and Nishan has been going through so much. Now he's in and out of the hospital, but I'm just trusting the Lord, and I'm asking you guys to just continue to pray and continue to support, so we can